Hello and welcome to the Long Island Weather Outlook and Weather Update. Obviously, we'll have to talk about the storm that we experienced because it did cause some flooding in various parts of Long Island, and we're going to go over those rainfall reports. But I want to show you some pictures before I even get started to show you the impact of this storm. So I'm going to start off over here. All right, so this is the Carls River. It's normally like a little small creek. This is Babylon, right? This is in Babylon right here, right? So not very far from the train station, all right? So this is what it normally looks like, all right? And this is what it looked like today. And I have a video of it for you. Look at how high that water was. And I tell you, it was the highest I'd ever seen it. It was literally a raging river going through. And it was really impressive to see. And like I said, I have a video. You'll definitely want to check that out. And then I was able to make it to Southard's Pond, and obviously we had the cloudy skies today. You can see the lake was pretty high as well. Whether any of this got to the Pine Barrens lakes, I don't know, because, you know, they've been drying up. And obviously cloudy skies, though tonight things slowly improved a little bit and started off with clouds, and the clouds started breaking. This is at This is at the Lake and Rockville Center this evening. A pretty long exposure picture I took there. And some of the clouds you'll see here. So we did have, and now it's mostly clear out. A lot of these clouds have gone away. But anyway, let's go and look at our storm reports. All right, so our rainfall reports is what we're going to start off first. In Connecticut here, you can see 3.5 inches on a lot of these areas like Shelton and stuff. Got a lot, though. As you go down the list, it's less as you head toward northwestern Connecticut. Middlesex County, Connecticut. This is eastern Connecticut, 5.30 inches in Durham. Higginham, 4.83 inches. Middlefield, 4.83 inches as well. And so over 4 inches in a lot of these areas in Middlesex County. New Haven County, Milford, once again on top. I think they were on top the last time. 5.13 inches there in Milford. Wallingford, 4.91 inches. So you can see all the higher amounts there. And in Meriden Airport, 3.32. In New London County as well hit hard. 4.72 in Uncasville. Norwich, 4.71. So you got a lot of these high amounts in Connecticut. New Jersey, Bergen doesn't look that bad. Most of the areas got under 2 inches. All right, between 1 and 2 inches. Essex County, Cedar Grove got 2.12. Hudson County, nothing really too remarkable here. Passaic was up at 2.48. West Milford 2.33. So they got a little more. This doesn't cover the Jersey Shore area. We're gonna have to look at that on the map. Union County 1.67. So nothing really remarkable there. The city, nothing remarkable in the Bronx. Brooklyn got a little more. Sheepshead Bay 2.47. But here we go on to Long Island, and folks, we got a lot of rain. North Massapequa, in that eastern part of the county, and western Suffolk, I think that was the sweet spot for all the rain. 4.85 in North Massapequa. Bethpage, 4.76. Massapequa Park, 4.40. Levittown, 4.38. Wantaw, 4.17. Merrick, 4.15. I'm not going to read through all these, but you can see a lot of 4-inch amounts here. And then 3-inch amounts as you go further. Now, in Mineola area, we got about 3.5 inches, so 3.49 in Carl Place. A little less, again, as you head toward the western parts of the county, northern and western parts of the county, Manhattan. Nothing remarkable there. Orange County, all right, you got 2.42 up there. Putnam County, 2.23. As we head east, here we go into Queens. Belrose, 3.13 inches. The JFK Airport got 2.97 inches. There's still a lot of rain. I'm not saying it's not. But Suffolk County, wow, 5.05 in Fort Salonga. Centerport, 4.86 inches. Smithtown, 4.71 inches. Farmingdale Airport got 4.01 inches. Going through all these here. I'm trying to look for some. Center Reach, 3.52. Trying to find some of the towns in the Pine Barrens. 3.04 Orient. Islip, 2.86. I don't think that's the airport, though. 2.56 at the airport. Ridge in the Pine Barrens, 2.48 inches. Upton, 2.41. So around 2.5 in the Pine Barrens. And Westchester, nothing remarkable there as well. So now we'll go to the wind gusts here. And it looks like the highest wind gusts seem to be in Suffolk County there. Shoreham, 57-mile-an-hour wind gust. Great Gull Island, 54-mile-an-hour wind gust. Northport, 51 mile an hour wind gust. So pretty substantial winds, but not as bad as it could have been. We were fortunate that low. It did give us more rain, but we got spared the higher winds. And you know what? I'll take the more rain over the higher winds because the rain usually doesn't knock out power, but the winds definitely will. Um, so let's go take a look at our power outage map while we're at it. So this is the satellite here, and you can see the clouds kind of breaking up. But I want to actually go and look at the power outage map here and see. It does not look like it looks like a lot of the areas got spared too many impacts from the power outages. So we're very fortunate. I guess the Cape didn't really get into any of those really crazy winds either. I guess they pretty much stayed offshore. We were very lucky with that. And it's just because of the way that front was moving slower and that low formed, and it kind of spread those isobars out just enough to help us. And at least the winds weren't too bad. So let's look at our current observation. See, not a whole lot going on across the country. Got an air stagnation advisory for parts of Idaho, but not a whole lot going on here. Some freeze watches and warnings, Florida, and looks like there's still a flood watch for Maine. So let's look at our. We still have the gale warning in effect, a small craft advisory in effect for our offshore waters. So let's take a look at our current conditions now, because it definitely has gotten quite cold out there. It feels quite cold with that wind. We're in the 30s, 37 degrees at Islip. West-northwest wind at 14, gusting to 22. And you'll see here how the dew points have dropped from midnight, obviously, on. That would be when our high was probably around midnight, probably. Yeah, the high, you can see how 57, we went from, you can really see that cold front, look at how strong it was. We went from 57 at 105 at Islip to an hour later, we're at 46. So 10-degree temperature drop in an hour. Pretty remarkable with this front here. And you can see that rain continued, and it really lingered until at Islip. It lingered to around 10 o'clock this morning. So that's about what we expected, pretty much. And you can see those dew points. It looks like there's a pretty decent spread between the temperature and the dew point. We'll have to see if that'll give us clear skies or not tomorrow. You still see those wind gusts up there right now. And no, I'm not really going to see any radiational cooling tonight with these winds, I don't think. Pretty strong winds. So obviously, I could go over the highs and lows, but the highs were as of midnight, so 57. But you'll see off to the west, they were cooler because that's where the cold front came through. But yeah, pretty warm. West Hampton got up to 61, which is insane. It looks like right on the shore there, south of Toms River, 60 degrees. And then for the lows, probably the current temperatures we have now. 30s, generally speaking. Yeah, so the temperatures we have now are the lows. What I'm more interested in is the precipitation. So let's go all the way out and do our 72-hour precipitation, which will show the rainfall totals on a map, kind of give you an idea of what we have here and what a lot of areas got. So you can see it's that eastern part of Nassau County. You can see the higher amounts here, 4.86 in Massapequa, and then Babylon. There aren't too many observations at Babylon. There's a 3.76 at Belmont Lake, but that 4.86 at Massapequa, that's pretty high right there. It's almost 5 inches of rain right there. And you'll see here Hauppauge 4.04. These numbers are a little bit low around Stony Brook, so I'm going to discount them. But you see those, looks like 3.40. Some areas, northern parts of the Pine Barrens got a little more. Not really a whole lot of stations in the Pine Barrens. I know there was more than 0.57 there. 2.46, so 2.5 inches for the Pine Barrens, which is respectable. Will it be enough to fill up those lakes? I don't know. We'll have to find out. And the only way we're going to find that out, you see also East End got 2.5 inches. Spread this out here. You see Connecticut. I think Connecticut wound up getting the most there. Look at that. Still got flood watches, and it looks like these are flood warnings, actually, in effect. And that's probably because of the rivers flooding in these areas here. Cape didn't get too much. We'll go up, look at Jersey for a minute here. You can see generally similar amounts to our Pine Barrens, 2.5 to maybe close up to 3 inches. We're right on the, go a little further north, it gets a little higher. That's plenty of rain. What can I tell you? Plenty of rain. So let's look at our climate report for Islip today. So the high of 57, that was 11 degrees above normal. Low 40 was 9 degrees above normal, so that puts us 11 degrees above normal for the day. Month-to-date precipitation here, which is what we're going to note here, 3.67. Normally, we'd have 1.72, all right? We can look at JFK, and because they wound up getting more rain, they got 4.26 inches of rain so far this month, way above normal. Normally 1.48 inches of rain. So it's the kind of situation we're in, well above normal precipitation. So let's look at our rivers and lakes, which is the next thing I want to look at here. Because some might be in flood stage. We're going to take a look and see if there are any in flood stage. None in our area, but wait a minute, I see a yellow here. What's this? That's the north branch of the Metinecock at Lakewood is an action stage. Let's see, we can find the Toms River here. Why am I doing Jersey first? Because we don't have many here. We don't have many gauges, unfortunately, here. Carls River at Babylon. We don't even have the Carls River at Babylon anymore. They used to have it. We have the Peconic. But most of these are all tidal gauges, which not showing a whole lot here. We do have some in central Jersey also. Millstone River is continuing to rise. But the worst of it's in Connecticut here, like the Wood River in Rhode Island. That's at a minor flood stage. So we have 2 gauges right now in flood in the entire area. So it's not too bad considering. That's because the rain is, even though it was a lot of rain, it fell over. It was a long duration event. It wasn't like a couple of downpours, like you'd see from a severe thunderstorm. So it was, when you have wetlands, and that's the point when you have a wetland, it can soak up that water. So anyway, let's go to our weather map here, and we'll talk about what we got going on right now. High pressure, fair weather will be with us this week. So fortunately, we won't have to deal with any rain at all. Looking at the MODIS satellite, again, you can see that storm. Look at the moisture plume from that storm. That could go up into Greenland, that moisture plume, which is not good. And then you can see mostly clear skies. So I'm hoping we can get into some of these clear skies. So let's go look at the... let's go look at our jet stream pattern. So we'll go to the North American view here and look at our jet stream pattern on the GFS. As you can see, there's that trough behind that storm. So that brings in the cooler air. But then that trough kind of lifts out as we get toward the weekend here. And this would be our next storm forming here. You could watch it right here. Though it looks like it takes the main low. I don't know what it's doing now. Taking the main low, kind of just cutting it off offshore. But one thing you'll note here is that raging Pacific jet. You'll notice that. As we get toward the end of the period, you'll see it's not really going to allow any really cold air to come down when you have this kind of setup. All right, this is the latest GFS we're looking at. The 18Z GFS is what we're looking at. All right, I will now go to the upper air. So there's our trough, but you see generally ridging, and a lot of ridging, especially as we get toward later this week. You'll see more ridging. And there's that low. There's that low. It looks like it's going to be suppressed now. At least this is what the GFS is doing. But look at this intense ridge we have. So it's going to be very, very warm before Christmas, it looks like. And then maybe we'd see a little more of a cool down. But that long range, you can discount that because it looked like it was showing you're going to cool down around Christmas. And we're not seeing that at all. So let's now go to the European model. And I'll take this to the 12Z because the 18Z doesn't go as far out. And we'll look at the European and see what it does. So this is the European here. So European does a little more pronounced, that second cold front. But then it builds that huge ridge, so it's going to be very mild. And European still brings that storm up. So it still brings the storm. It looks like the GFS is trying to suppress it, but I'll have to look at the surface and see how that looks. That would be our next chance for rain, which would be more like at the beginning part of next week. Originally it was looking like Sunday, but finally it doesn't look like we'll have a rainy... We've had 2 rainy Sundays in a row. It's ridiculous. But you'll see here, not looking all that great for cold. All right. So we're going to bring this down to the CONUS view. And we will go and look at our temperature anomaly chart. All right, so this is our temperature anomaly chart. Today we're near normal, slightly above normal. Tomorrow will be near normal, slightly, and then near normal Wednesday. It's Thursday, the day we're going to be a little bit below normal. This is the European, but then after that, we start getting into the warmth. Here we are for the weekend. You can see and then it has a little bit of cold air with that storm. And it looks like it's trying to do something over here. perhaps. But whether that's actually going to materialize or not is another story. Now let's look at the GFS. So you see the whole country is above normal, right? Here's the GFS. Similar trend on the GFS here, except the difference is as we get toward that, it just keeps the ridge in place and doesn't have the storm, much of a storm. It doesn't have really much. It has a slight cool down. Christmas, but look at around Christmas. We're blazing. GFS is just blazing. I mean, this is like crazy anomalies here. And the thing is, this goes way up into Canada. So if I take this and I go to the North American view, this is insane. I mean, this is ridiculous. All right. That's how bad it is. Now, again, if we go back to the European isn't going to take us this far out. It's only going to take us to as far out as the 21st. It looks a little different, but you still see that big ridge there. So it's not looking good to have a nice wintry Christmas. I don't think we're going to have a white Christmas. We'll be lucky to have a Christmas where it feels cold. It might be a very warm Christmas again. So, hey, it's a global warming Christmas, and you know what? There ain't anything we can do about it. We've passed the point. We're screwed. So, anyway, let's go look at the surface now. I'll put this back to the CONUS view here. So here we are at the surface, and you'll see that big high building in. Looks like there's a secondary cold front that comes through like Wednesday, and then Thursday gets even colder. Big strong high like that should keep mostly clear skies around here. And then this is the storm system here. So, yeah, the GFS seems to be suppressing it now. This is the 18Z run. Let's see what the 12Z run does. The 12Z does not suppress it. So I don't know if it's going to get suppressed or not. But, yeah, this is a big change, and it could just be a bad run perhaps. All right, there's that low there, taking that track, all right. And then behind it would be, I think I'm going to use the 12Z run because I don't think the 18Z run is correct with that. But you can see there's that low. And then it does bring some cold air down. This would be the GFS bringing some cooler air down right here and then it forms another little low along that, with another high coming in. So this is the GFS in the 12Z run. Now I'm kind of curious to see what the temperature anomaly is longer range and see maybe it brings that colder air down behind that storm. Nope, the air behind that storm isn't all that. It's some cold air, but not that much. You see, the gist of things here. We're staying above normal, but that storm is obviously something that's a variable that will, if we do get the storm and it's more stronger, it generally would bring in colder air. If it's weaker and more suppressed, then it's going to stay warm. Let's go look at the European now. And European, pretty much this week, they agree on this week, but there's the storm. European also suppressing the storm now. So it's interesting how both the European was onto this whole thing suppressing the storm now. So we may not see that rain from that storm, perhaps. We'll have to see what happens. But we've had a lot of rain this month, all right? So keep that in mind. So it looks like a pretty strong storm, and it could even have some tropical characteristics to it. Look at where it's forming. So we're not going to be able to find out about that until this weekend. We'll have a better idea about that. But that's way in the long range. So, long range you just take as a guesstimate. It's just a guess. Things change between now and then. It kind of gives you one thing I can tell you for sure is that we're not going to have any really cold air masses coming in. That's certain right now. And it stays above normal. So let's go back to the GFS here. Well, actually, let's go to the H. Let me go to our area now that we've got a general idea of what. We'll go to the HRRR and the 0Z. Obviously, we're dry, so there's no need to look at the precipitation. I'm not even going to look at it, though. It kind of does show that secondary cold front that's offshore. You can sort of see there that it's going to spread some clouds into the area on Wednesday. So let's look at our 2 points in wind flow on the HRRR. You see we got the northwest winds. You'll see they become west and almost west-southwest tomorrow. You see the 2 points actually come back up again a little bit. And then on what you can see, here's the secondary cold front for Wednesday moving in during the day on Wednesday. And that's going to bring in colder air. So you can see how much colder that air mass is. All right. Oh, no sounding yet. Not ready for that yet. So let's look at our temperatures here. I don't think we're going to see much radiational cooling tonight. Low's probably around 30 degrees. And then tomorrow will be cooler. It will be a little bit cooler than today. I think we'll have highs in the low 40s. Though today felt colder with that wind. And then tomorrow night, we'll have to see how the clouds and the wind go. If we have clouds and if there's wind, it'll keep the temperatures up. But if there's radiational cooling, it'll probably get below freezing in the Pine Barrens. Though for everybody else, low 30s will do it. And then Wednesday, a bit colder, probably around 40 versus the low 40s for tomorrow. It's trying to show a bit colder conditions with that cold front. So let's just look at the soundings now that we'll pick midday here, 16Z. And this will kind of tell us what our skies will look like. And you see there, these lines are pretty close to each other, but everything else aloft is pretty far away. So any clouds that we would have would be of the low stratocumulus variety. Show you Jersey as well. These are kind of close to each other as well. And then if we want to go a little further, then we got to use the GFS. So GFS, looking at the air temperatures again. GFS is a bit warmer for Wednesday because it's a little slower with the cold front, I think. But this gives you the idea of what the secondary cold front does. And then Thursday, it'll be much colder. You can see the northwest winds. Then by Friday, we already start getting the west winds, and we see that moderation. So it looks like it's trying to bring another cold front through for Sunday, but then it kind of gets hung up. All right. And then there's that storm, but it keeps it offshore. All right. But it might pull down some more cold air for Wednesday, perhaps. Perhaps. We'll have to see what's going to happen with that. But that could bring our next chance of seasonably cold weather. But, again, generally the trend is above normal. So temperatures, you'll see as we get into Thursday. Thursday, we may only be in the upper 30s, maybe 40 in Jersey. But then we already recover. By Friday, we're pushing near 50 degrees already. And then above normal for Saturday. And Sunday, see, no really big cool downs here. And you see that next shot of cold air that would come in for the middle of next week. Nothing that impressive. Then it kind of retreats again. So let's use the GFS for some soundings as well. And we'll do that for tomorrow as well. So we'll just looks decent. Looks decent. When I look at these lines, it should be decent skies. They're pretty far apart. But as we get into Wednesday, they'll be closer together. We'll have more of those clouds. Yeah, you can see the Wednesday we're going to have clouds. And then Thursday, hopefully by Thursday, let's see. Yeah, it's showing some clouds too around, unfortunately. It's a waste of a nice air mass. Yeah, it's showing some mid-level moisture on Thursday, which would be a shame. I have a feeling they don't have that in Maine. No, they have it in Maine too. That's because of the kind of flow we have. That's because of the warm air advection that's already going to be occurring as we get the warm air for Friday. It's what you get in this kind of pattern with the Pacific. Call it a crappy pack pattern. You want to call it that. But let's go look at we looked at all this. Let's go look at the skies. We'll go to the sky model here. And it looks good for tomorrow. GFS is showing mostly clear skies. And as we get into Wednesday, that's when we're going to have more of these clouds come in. And then Thursday, you think, oh, this front's coming through great, but look at this. You got some cloudiness that's going to try to stream into the area. And then maybe Friday we'd be better off, even though it's warmer. But then, Saturday, you have to deal with plenty of clouds. So the best chance for clear skies is going to be tomorrow. And I really don't run the cloud model past this spot here. All right, so let's look at the RGM. We have some of the zeros of the RGM in, which we can actually use for tomorrow. So let's use that. We're missing some frames here, I think. But you can see mostly clear skies. He's showing a bit of clouds around the evening, maybe a little after sunset. But other than that, it should be mostly clear skies. I can look at the 18Z as well. You can see mostly clear skies they're showing. But Wednesday, that's when more of those clouds roll in there. And then Thursday, RGM is a little more forgiving on the clouds. So we'll have to see hopefully Thursday, because that'll be real nice. We can get some cold air and some clear skies on Thursday. But there are some things, and just one more thing I wanted to show you here. Because when I use this tool, though, the Ventu Sky tool, we'll go to tomorrow. Let's see what it shows for tomorrow. It's still showing a few clouds, but not that bad. It looks like tomorrow should be a pretty decent day, but there may be a little bit of an afternoon cloudiness over Long Island that's showing. But other than that, it looks pretty good. Tomorrow probably will be the sunniest day of the week right now. That's what we're looking at. And maybe we can do it on Thursday too. We'll have to see what happens. So, lastly, we'll stop off at the Climate Prediction Center and look at our 6 to 10 day outlook. And you get the idea of what we're having. Actually, much below precipitation around the Great Lakes. And we're like kind of on the outer edge of that big bowl of below normal precipitation, above normal in the southwest. Look at the temperatures, though, really above normal in the real good chance of above normal weather in the upper north there, northern tier. That's not good at all. And that's going to include Canada as well. So this is really just boiling at this point. 8 to 14 day, more of the same. So it does show below normal precipitations. Hopefully, at least we get a break from all this rain that we've been having. But other than that, yeah, we're going to be above normal. The whole country is above normal. No one is below normal. That's very disturbing to see. And it's, again, all part of what we're going through. But, again, we can actually look at the 1 month outlook, which I know is kind of more on the experimental side, but you get the idea. There's no below normal. So it's going to be a mild month. Again, we're waiting for winter. But winter is something we're not going to get that much anymore. It's going to be eventually we're not going to get winter at all anymore. It'll be a few weeks of winter, and that's it. That's what's happening to our climate. It's becoming like, if you want the climate we used to have on Long Island, then you're going to have to go live in Maine, I think. It's all part of, again, climate change, which, again, we're screwed with that. There's nothing we can do, There's no sense even pointing fingers anymore because we're all screwed. And there's really nothing we can do about it. Just buckle up. It's going to be a rough ride. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this Long Island weather outlook. Have a good night.